Ezekiel 32. And it came to pass in the 12th year, in the 12th month, in the first day of the month, that the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation over Pharaoh king of Egypt, and say unto him, Thou wast likened unto a young lion of the nations, yet art thou as a monster in the seas, and thou didst break forth with thy rivers, and troublest the waters with thy feet, and fouledest their rivers. There you go. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, I will spread out my net upon thee with a company of many people, and they shall bring thee up in my net. And I will leave thee upon the land, and I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the birds of heaven to settle upon thee, and I will satisfy the beasts of the whole earth with thee. Egypt, a country, a people choosing not to obey the Lord. We like to say God's just, he's mean to them, but his ways are there. They've been there. They're recorded. It's us that doesn't follow. And I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains, and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains, and the watercourses shall be full of thee. And when I shall extinguish thee, I will cover the heavens, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give its light. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set my darkness upon the land, saith the Lord Jehovah. I will also vex the hearts of many peoples, when I shall bring thy destruction among the nations, into the countries which thou hast not known. Yea, I will make many peoples amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for thee, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life, in the day of thy fall. For thus saith the Lord Jehovah, the sword of the king of Babylon shall come upon thee. By the swords of the mighty will I cause thy multitude to fall. The terrible of nations are they all, and they shall bring to naught the pride of Egypt, and all the multitude thereof shall be destroyed. I will destroy also all the beasts thereof from beside many waters, neither shall the foot of man trouble them any more, nor the hoofs of beasts trouble them. Then I will make their waters clear, and cause their rivers to run like oil, saith the Lord Jehovah. When I shall make the land of Egypt desolate and a waste, a land destitute of that whereof it was full. When I shall smite all of them that dwell therein, then shall they know that I am Jehovah. You're a nation, you're doing everything that you think you should, and you get destroyed. And you'll come to the conclusion that you weren't following God's ways. And that's why it wasn't lasting. This is the lamentation wherewith they shall lament. The daughters of the nations shall lament therewith over Egypt, and over all her multitude shall they lament therewith, saith the Lord Jehovah. It came to pass also in the 12th year, in the 15th day of the month, that the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, wail for the multitude of Egypt, and cast them down, even her and the daughters of the famous nations, unto the nether parts of the earth, with them that go down into the pit. This is probably a second warning of what he was about to do. God warns before he acts. And the fact that he's given us his word and what's going to happen, and he wrote the future for us as well as the past, and he wrote everything before the past, so we can look back through our past and say, hey, he said this would happen, it did. He said this would happen, it did. And then there's things that he's saying will happen from our perspective, and we can be assured they will. God warns. It's there. We are warned. We cannot go into it and say, oh, this caught us by a complete surprise. It should not. We're either following his ways and being blessed by him, and sometimes he will withhold those blessings in order to test us. But if we have relationship with him, we sort of know. And if we're not following his ways, then we can expect destruction at some point. We might get away with it for a while, as he does things and brings things into our lives and reminds us, hey, we need to turn toward him and away from ourselves. Whom dost thou pass in beauty? Go down and be thou laid with the uncircumcised. Again, no matter what, we all will perish in the end. We all will perish. They shall fall in the midst of them that are slain by the sword. She is delivered to the sword. Draw her away, and all her multitudes. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of Sheol. With them that help him, they are gone down. They lie still, even the uncircumcised, slain by the sword. So even if we're godly, we're going to die just like the Gentiles. If we are his people, we're going to die just like those that aren't his people. Asher is there, and all her company. Her graves are round about her. All of them slain, fallen by the sword, whose graves are set in the uttermost parts of the pit, and her company is round about her grave. All of them slain, fallen by the sword, who caused terror in the land of the living. There is Elam, and all her multitude, round about her grave. All of them slain, fallen by the sword, who are gone down, uncircumcised, into the nether parts of the earth, who caused their terror in the land of the living, and have borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. They have set her a bed in the midst of the slain with all her multitude. Her graves are round about, all of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, for their terror was caused in the land of the living, and they have borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. He is put in the midst of them that are slain. So even those countries, those people, those at those times, and they think, hey, they have got it figured out. We need to do it this way. We're smarter than what came before us. We've learned from their mistakes. We're going to get it right. Ultimately, we all die. There is Meshach, Tubal, and all their multitude. Their graves are round about them. All of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, for they caused their terror in the land of the living. And they shall not lie with the mighty that are fallen of the uncircumcised, that are gone down to Sheol with their weapons of war, and have laid their swords under their heads, and their iniquities are upon their bones, for they were the terror of the mighty in the land of the living. But thou shalt be broken in the midst of the uncircumcised, and shall lie with them that are slain by the sword. In other words, they will be destroyed. They won't have a grand funeral. There is Edom, her kings, and her princes, who in their might are laid with them that are slain by the sword. They shall lie with the uncircumcised, and with them that go down to the pit. There are the princes of the north, all of them, all the Sidonians, who are gone down with the slain. In the terror which they caused by their might, they are put to shame, and they lie uncircumcised with them that are slain by the sword, and bear their shame with them that go down to the pit. Pharaoh shall see them, and shall be comforted over all his multitude. Even Pharaoh and all his army slain by the sword, saith the Lord Jehovah. For I have put his terror in the land of the living, and he shall be laid in the midst of the uncircumcised with them that are slain by the sword. Even Pharaoh and all his multitude, saith the Lord Jehovah. There is no one exempt. There is no one exempt. Ezekiel33, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, When I bring a sword upon the land, and the people of the land take a man from among them, and set him for their watchman. Ooh, watchman. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he bloweth the trumpet and warn the people. Alright. A lot of times as people, this is what we do. We look to the pastor, we look to somebody else who's godly, and we say, hey, would you kind of keep an eye on things and just let us know? We're just going to do our own little thing here. So they're sort of a watchman, and spiritually a watchman. And they're supposed to be the ones that do the studying, because, hey, we don't have time for it. God wants a personal relationship with us all. He wants us all to be the watchmen, because we don't know what the other watchmen are doing. Alright. Then whosoever heareth the sound of trumpet, and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood is on his own head. So, when godly people tell you things, if you're not in tune with the Lord, and you listen to them, when they tell you that something's about to happen and you heed their warning, or if you don't heed their warning, then their blood shall be, your own blood shall be on your own head if you don't listen to those who are the Lord's. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him, whereas if he had taken the warning, he would have delivered his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, then the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So when you have a relationship with the Lord, he's wanting you to tell others about it. He's wanting you to tell people what the Lord is showing you, what the Lord is doing in your life. Doesn't mean you have to preach. One of the reasons I do videos, because there's this strong push as a person comes to know the Lord in a deeper and deeper way, it will spill out. It just does that. If you don't do it, then when people are not warned, then they're taken, and you are responsible. So thou, son of man, I have set thee a watchman of the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. Now, some of what the Lord tells you is not something that you want to tell other people. Some of the things he says, some of his ways, some of his leadings, some of his whatever, is not something that you just want to run out and say, because a lot of people reject the Lord. They want to do their own thing. They don't want to hear truth. Okay? But here is Ezekiel with a relationship to the Lord, and so when the Lord tells him something, he expects him to give them a warning. Whether they do anything with a warning or not is then on those people. Ezekiel has done his part. He has been faithful to the Lord. When you have a relationship with him, you've got to be faithful to what he says. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, and thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand. Those people that don't know the Lord will die. They will die, and they will die in the second death. Jesus came to give people the opportunity to have the right relationship with Lord and to be remade in his image. But those that reject will die, and they will die in the second death. And those with a relationship to the Lord know this and live their lives in such a way that they are an example, they are a witness of this to other people. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, and he turn not away from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. The Lord is looking for obedience. So when you have a relationship with him, he wants you to be obedient to him, regardless of what the world says. You got to be obedient to the Lord, and he will be tested. He will test that to see if you really mean it. He will. Because he knows whether or not you mean it, but you don't. So some of that testing is for, do we really mean what we say? Because it's easy to say something, and it's harder to do it. The whole book of James, it says, hey, you show me your faith by your works. So by being in obedience to the Lord, you're showing your faith in him. And thou, son of man, say unto the house of Israel, thus ye speak, saying, our transgressions and our sins are upon us, and we pine away in them. How then can we live? Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord Jehovah, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye, turn ye, turn ye, turn ye, turn ye, turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? The Lord has no pleasure. He created each and every one of us. He knows each and every one of us by name, even the aborted ones. He knows their names. He had a plan for them. He has no pleasure in their death, but it is their death when they do things their way. And thou, son of man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. Neither shall he that is righteous be able to live thereby in the day that he sinneth. Verse 12 is you can't save it up. You're in relationship with the Lord or you're not. If you appear to be in relationship to the Lord and then you decide to go do things your own way, that is a transgression. And it will mean that you will not be delivered. If you're disobedient to the Lord and you say, hey, I see the error of my ways, I truly see the error of my ways, I repent, I turn from my ways to his ways, then he's not going to hold that wickedness against you. So if you become unrighteous, he's not going to let it be offset by the righteousness. And if you are wicked and you become righteous, he's not going to have that wickedness keep you from relationship to him. It's completely up to us. There are religions out there who think that when you go to judgment, you get on the scales, the good, the bad, And depending on how you tip the scales determines your fate in eternity. But that is about works. The Lord is about relationship. Do you have a relationship with Him? Do you believe Him? Do you think His ways are the best? And are you doing things His way? His ways. Do you even know what they are? Most can't answer that question because they don't know what His ways are. And if they think they know, they really maybe don't, or they are taking them out of context because they don't have that relationship with Him where He goes through and He explains His ways to you. And He is willing to do that for each and every person because He has no pleasure in the death of anyone. Okay, and you can't save it up. You're either in a relationship or you're not. No fence sitting. When I say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust his righteousness, if he trust to his righteousness and commit iniquity, none of his righteous deeds shall be remembered. But in his iniquity that he hath committed, therein he shall die. Can't save it up. Again, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, if he turns from his sin and do that which is lawful and right. Lawful and right. How do you know what's lawful and right? You have a relationship with the Lord and you are shown by Him what is lawful and right. If the wicked restore the pledge, give again that which he had taken by robbery, walk in the statutes of life, committing no iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die. What is the pledge? What is the penalty for when you take something from somebody? What are you supposed to give back? None of his sins that he hath committed shall be remembered against him. He hath done that which is lawful and right. He shall surely live. And this is interesting. Yet the people of thy people say the way of the Lord is not equal, but as for them, their way is not equal. People want their righteous deeds to add up. So if they're righteous long enough, they're like, ooh, I can sin once in a while and be okay. Well, if you sin, then do you really have the Lord set apart where He should be in your life? When the righteous turneth from his righteousness and committed iniquity, he shall even die therein. So it's the people's ways that aren't right. Now, if the Lord's ways are not right, He can see all across time the beginning and the end. And so He wrote out His ways based on what He knew. We come along and we say, oh, we can do better than God. We know better. God's ways are not right. These are better. See, this is what this is addressing. This is what the Lord is addressing, and as you can see, none of us can be smarter than God because we are not God. We have to, and when we think we are smarter than God, then we have set ourselves apart in the position where He belongs. And when the wicked turneth from his wickedness and doeth that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Yet ye say the way of the Lord is not equal, O house of Israel. I will judge every one after his ways. Okay? Look at that. Judge everyone after his ways. Are your ways the ways of Christ? Then you're in. You're a disciple. Are your ways not of Christ? Then you're not in. I will judge you everyone after his ways. Christ wants to come in our heart. He wants to remake us in his image. He wants us to accept his ways, acknowledge that his ways are best, and live by them. So, they're no longer our ways. They are Christ's ways living in us. Okay. And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, and the 5th day of the month, that one had escaped out of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. Now the hand of Jehovah had been upon me in the evening before he that escaped came, and he had opened my mouth until he came to me in the morning, and my mouth was open, and I was no more dumb. We should be slow to speak, and we should, in relationship to the Lord, we should let him tell us what to say. And the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, that's part of having a relationship. Son of man, they that inhabit those waste places in the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many. The land is given us for an inheritance. So the people in Jerusalem were now under siege, I think. I'd have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline here. And the people in the land say, hey, he gave this land to Abraham, and Abraham was just one, and we are many, and we are his people. So they were self-proclaimed. They were the people of God. Were they doing things his ways? Go back up to verse 20. Were they doing things his ways? No, they were being disobedient. Wherefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord Jehovah, ye eat with the blood. You're supposed to eat with the stuff with blood in it. And lift up your eyes unto your idols. You're supposed to do that. And shed blood. You kill people. And shall ye possess the land? So the Lord is telling them, they're being disobedient, shall they possess the land? You stand upon your sword, ye work abomination, and ye defile every one his neighbor's wife, and shall ye possess the land? So if you're not being obedient to the Lord, should he give you any of his blessings? See, they wanted his blessings, they wanted the land, they wanted his protection, they wanted everything else, but they didn't want to do things his ways. Thus shalt thou say unto them, thus saith the Lord Jehovah, as I live, surely they that are in the waste places shall fall by the sword, and him that is open field will I give to the beast to be devoured, and they that are in strongholds and caves shall die of pestilence. So if you're out in the open, you're going to be killed. Or the beasts are going to eat you. And if you're in a fortified city, hiding in a cave, you will die of pestilence. And I will make the land a desolation and an astonishment, and the pride of her power shall cease, and the mountains of Israel shall be desolate, so that none shall pass through. Then shall they know that I am Jehovah, when I have made the land a desolation and an astonishment, because of all their abominations which they have committed. Again, this is being said before it happened. Now, we're in a time where this has happened in the past, but this prophecy was actually before the destruction of Jerusalem. And the people in that city thought God would miraculously protect them. They didn't have to do things God's ways. He was just going to come along and make it easy for them. But you have to do things the way he outlined. You have to have Christ in your heart. You have to adopt God's ways. And as for thee, son of man, the children of thy people talk of thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from Jehovah. And they come unto thee as people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but do them not. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their gain. Are we in a similar time? People will tell you they're Christians, they love the Lord, everything else, but where's their heart? Are their ways the way of Christ? And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not. We can read the Bible. Anybody can read the Bible. Anybody can see the ways of the Lord. We can read them. People can tell them to us, but it's up to us to say, hey, those are the ways things should be done. I agree with the Lord. And when this cometh to pass, behold, it cometh, then they shall know that a prophet hath been among them. Jerusalem fell, and the people in Jerusalem were warned that it was going to fall, and they didn't believe it. And then when it happened, people look back and say, well, yeah, we were warned. The watchmen on the walls warned what was going to happen. In the end times, the Lord's going to come and set up his kingdom on this earth. It's going to happen. You can ignore it. You can think it's down the road. You can do your own thing. It's going to happen. And when it happens, then what? Father, I thank you for this chapter. This has been wonderful. Thank you, Lord. Thank you that you wrote what will happen. Thank you that you've outlined your ways. Thank you that you will teach us one-on-one in prayer, in our prayer closet, to adopt your ways. Help us, Lord, to turn from anything that is not of you and to cling to you and to be guided by you. In Jesus' name, amen.